Can you hear me? Are we good?
Yeah. We can hear you now.
Yo. Welcome everyone to United View. Sorry about that. We are live. This is
Disgrace cheat.
Sir?
I said disgrace cheat.
Okay, yes, exactly. Yes, we will talk about him. So today we have on the panel, we have Rich over here, we have DJ, and we have Soul. So my computer's been bugging out as we started, but we are going to get straight into it. Before we actually start, let's have everyone in the comments give your opinions. What's going on at United so far? What are your thoughts on what happened in the last game? And share your opinions. We're going to be reading through the chats, reading through the super chats. Hit the like button and subscribe if you are not subscribed already. Guys, I don't know about you, but I am feeling pumped. I am still gassed after yesterday's win. But I don't know, am I over-exaggerating here? I'm going to go to you first, Sol. What are your thoughts on yesterday's win against Copenhagen?
I'm not happy, man. I'll be honest. I'm tired of scraping these wins, and like that was too close for me. And I just think that going off last season, it's like we're going backwards. You know what I mean? Like we're just begging to get like a win on a trot. You know what I mean? I know that's like 3 wins in a row now, but it's too close for comfort. I don't get me wrong. I think there was good moments. Like for me, I just think that we don't finish our chances. Like we do good stuff up until then. You know, we get in the right positions like that Garnacho 1-on-1, for example, like on that break. That was a brilliant opportunity. And you know, they're just not finishing.
But bro, you're coming across a little bit negative there. Because to me, the way I see it is, you said it yourself actually, 3 wins in a row. Yeah. Before we were losing these sort of games. But whether we're playing well or not, we're making it across the line and we're winning these games, 3 wins in a row.
No, I get it. Obviously, I'd rather the result. Don't get me wrong. Like I'd rather the result, but at the same time, like I still want to see my team play good football, you know, and be like destructive against teams that we should be destructive against. It shouldn't be a case of like we're stressing about going into a game against Copenhagen, right? And then you know what I mean? Like if it was Bayern Munich, I completely understand, but that's not the situation. So for me, I just feel like we should be winning those games comfortably. And it's just happening too much. Like it's happening too like we're consistently, you know, scraping results. I know. Hopefully, it will come, and I'm happy that we got the result. But at the same time, like to balance it out, a win's a win. But at the same time, we also need the performance to match.
That's right.
Okay. DJ, what do you think, bro? What do you think? What side of the fence do you sit on? Are you disappointed because we're not playing well? Or are you actually feeling a little bit optimistic because we are getting some results now?
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I just don't think this team is at that level yet to be playing with style, winning games. I just don't think it's happening. So I will take whatever 3 points, wins we can get. I don't care if it's hand of God, Maradona. I don't care if, you know, we get gifted 7 VAR decisions for Manchester United. At this moment in time, I don't care. All I want is 3 points and to keep that momentum going. Keep it going. The players eventually have to come into some form, right, guys? They have to eventually come into form. So if we can literally scrimp and scrape our way to a point here, 3 points there, then I'm happy for it. Just until we can actually hit some form and hit top gear. So yeah, I don't mind it, to be fair.
Yeah. And I'm going to come to you, Rich. What about you, bro?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that to an extent, but I think part of the problem with that is the fact that it's so draining watching United play, and I think that's where Soul's coming from. You know what I mean? It's just so draining watching our performances, watching and going through games. Like you were there yesterday when we were doing a match review, right? And we all predicted, 4-0, 4-0, 3-1, 3-1. And I don't even know why we predicted that, because we're not scoring goals like that right now. You know what I mean? We're not playing that kind of free-flowing football. And it's hard to watch. Let's be honest, it's hard to watch sometimes. Watch our skip play. But at the same time, I fully agree with what you're saying. And what DJ just said. We just want wins. We just want to win. And obviously, now if we go against, I'm sure we'll talk about this later. But if we go and beat City in that kind of fashion, we won't care. We will not be bothered. Be happy with the 3 points. four games in a row. But it is draining to watch United. You know, you're looking at it and you're thinking, this is not sustainable, surely. Like, it's just too hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
But you see, the thing is as well, what I find quite confusing, and what I think a lot of United fans will find confusing, and a lot of even opposition fans will find confusing, is each week we're blaming it on a different thing. One week it might be the referee and the VAR. The next week it might be Onana, our own goalkeeper. The next week we're scapegoating Maguire, then Anthony, then we're saying it's the midfield, then we're saying it's Bruno, then we're saying our front line can't score goals. So what is it, DJ, that you think is the main concern? What's the main problem in that team?
Manchester United is the main problem. Yeah. You know what? To be fair, right? And do you know what? I'll be real, right? I'll be real. Look, at the end of the day, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to professional football. Yeah. And this team, I've seen a lot of positive, but I've also seen a lot of negative with the team, right? In terms of our style of play, I will admit I do not know what our style of play is. What I do know though is that most of our players in our forward line are good at counter-attacking football. So I guess we have to kind of create some form of style around that, because that's where we look most dangerous. That's where we created more chances against Copenhagen on a counter-attack, on the break, right? So for me, in terms of what is the issue, I think it can be, these things can fluctuate week to week because we're not the perfect team. Do you know what I mean? And we've had a lot of injuries. The team is far from stable. And when you mentioned Onana, we mentioned Maguire. These are players that have had very iffy form, very, very iffy form. Some longer than others, but iffy form. And at some points, they do rear their ugly head sometimes. Bruno, he has stinkers sometimes. Rashford has stinkers sometimes. So, and it's very noticeable when they have stinkers. So I think from week to week, anyone can be the villain. But as we saw last night, some of those villains actually turned into heroes. So look, until we can obviously get a little bit more quality in this team, it's going to be like that for a while. It's going to fluctuate. One week we'll blame Onana if he carries on with mistakes. I hope he doesn't. One week we may blame Maguire. Look, he was the hero this week. God forbid he might be the villain next. So we just need to get some stability in the club. And I think that comes with, again, identifying players properly, building an actual adequate structure that when you're bringing in players, they're not going to be injured for the first how many games. Do you know what I mean? So Ten Hag's had a lot to deal with, guys. Like, I'll be honest, he's had a lot to deal with, and we're very unstable at the moment. But as I said before, I will take wins over substance right now. I will. I'll take them anywhere I can get them. If anybody's at Sainsbury's handing United 3 points, I'm there. I'm in the aisle taking them. So,
I suppose as well, when you're thinking about it, at the same time, I kind of agree with what you're saying. And this is the reason why I'm stuck in the middle. Because on the other hand, you've got it's also the injuries. You see what I mean? It's the team's constantly changing all the time, and players are just getting injured left, right, and centre. And as well as what's going on with the sale of the club and the performances, you have to factor in the injuries. So it's just up and down. It's up and down right now all the time.
I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, watching yesterday's game now, you're seeing, and I think Raph, we talk about this as well, right? You're seeing and you're looking at the players when they're on the ball. Where are the patterns of play? Like, surely the style of play and the patterns should be ingrained regardless of who's on the pitch. And I think I saw a quote from Maddison about how, not to bring this to Spurs, not to talk about Ange Postecoglou again, but he was saying how it's a non-negotiable for them, from Ange's point, for them to press high in every game, at every time, press high. Now, we obviously have a high line yesterday, but then I remember at the start of the season or earlier in Ten Hag's reign, you'd always have players showing for the ball. There's always someone supporting him, free players around the ball, triangles being made. I'm not seeing that at all. I'm not seeing this style of play as much. And yes, you might say it is maybe because of some injuries and, they're not building. I think Ten Hag said it himself. They're not building the, relationships as easily. But it's still a bit disappointing that we're not seeing that a bit more, at least people trying.
But bro, did we not see it in the second half? Because to me, in the second half, what I saw was entertaining football, and it looked like a group of 11 players who actually know their jobs. Like, do we not think we saw that in the second half? Does that not give us a bit of optimism moving forward?
I disagree. I disagree. Sorry, I disagree. What I saw was that freestyle football. When the chips are down, when we can't create anything, everyone starts playing their own game. And again, and I could be wrong. There could be people slaughtering me in the chat, but I'll just be honest with you guys. Like, with United, where if you look at our players, as I said, our front line, they're quick. So it's kind of easy to then, right, if they're quick, we need to be playing on the last shoulder. We need to be committing men forward, trying to get the balls into the channels to get our fast-paced players onto the ball. Like once we started doing that, we looked more of a threat. I think for me, Eriksen was a game changer, in my opinion.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Because there was control in the midfield. And I think just last but not least, there's two things that Manchester United's midfield specifically are missing. They're missing, they have it in Kobe Mainoo, but I think they need it in other players too. They need a player that's mobile and that's technically sound, like superiorly technically sound, right? And they also need someone that can carry the ball in the middle of the park. At the moment, we don't have any of those type of players. So Copenhagen, for their midfield, they were highly technical. They could keep the ball. They could play really fast football. They're trapping the ball. They're not letting the ball's not bouncing off their toes. They're not taking heavy touches. It's all intricate technical football, and we don't have that at the moment.
Yeah, but
I feel like in the second half. Sorry. I feel like in the second half we did see a bit more relationships, especially with Bruno and Eriksen, right? I think we did see a bit more of that. It wasn't as freestyle as I think first half. Actually, probably what we were trying to do was go down the wings and play over the top and go down the wings a bit in terms of look for Anthony, look for Rashford, play to the fullbacks, and that wasn't really working. But I think second half we played through the midfield a lot more, and at least played through Eriksen and Bruno a lot more. So.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly what Rich just said. Literally, I think in the second half, there were better patterns of play. And I think that's partly because we had Eriksen. DJ, you mentioned having someone in the midfield that can drive the ball forward. Eriksen was doing that. Yeah, he was passing a lot, but at moments, he was basically just pushing the team further forward at a good pace without losing the ball with horrible passes that we saw in the first half. So then that was the main concern to me in the first half. We only had Amrabat in that midfield, and we weren't holding on to the ball. George, I'm gonna come to you. Was that the same sort of concern for you, or is it something else in that first half that you thought was the reason for why we were playing as bad as we were?
It's a hard one because I just think there's multiple things all the time. It's like mostly when it comes down to it, it is that in the middle of the park. It's that constant choice of who's those three playing in the middle.
That balance, right?
That balance. Yeah. And it's like one thing I think that we're really poor at is like holding possession, holding on to possession in games and getting it by the scruff of the neck. We just don't do that. So there's just multiple factors. It's just frustrating to watch. But at the same time, it's understandable. Like for example, like Amrabat coming in. Like the manager has to also learn the player as well as the player has to learn to integrate into the team. So it's just, we're just seeing right now, we're seeing everybody's weaknesses.
Yeah.
And he just, Ten Hag just got to basically, fix those weaknesses. And it's just going to take time.
Okay. Yeah, to touch on what DJ said, actually, DJ mentioned that we need certain types of players. And you're 100% right, because we don't have, I think we almost have it in separate players. Again, you're looking at, I think we spoke about this with back in the day with McTominay and Fred, you almost have certain attributes with certain players, but we need one player to have it, right? So, you're talking about carrying the ball forward, you're talking about technical ability in Eriksen, for example, but we don't have that in one midfield. And to be honest, that's why Ten Hag really wanted Frankie de Jong. Like, let's be honest, that's what you wanted in his midfielder, but we didn't get that. So now we just have to make do. But you're like, as far as I'm concerned, Ten Hag has to fix this. At the end of the day, he's the manager and he has to fix this. I'm 100% behind him. But it's just, like Sol said, it's draining sometimes to see this, play like this.
Do you know what it is? I see kind of in some aspects, in certain games, I see kind of what Ten Hag wants to achieve with this team. But the reality is, I think that some of the players aren't up to it. That's just what I think. I think in terms of executing what he wants, I think he tries to hope and I think he tries to train them and drill them to do that. But I just think some of them aren't up to it. But yeah, we'll probably get into that in a bit.
But that comes over time, right? That comes over time. Like, as he's still fresh, really. And I know he's had a
but then it goes back to the comment that people are making about Spurs, right? Why is it taking them? Why is they doing it so quickly? We ain't got answers. We ain't got answers. Oh, I think Raph might be frozen. Yeah, if he's frozen, let's get to the super chats at least in the meantime. There we go. Got one up on the board. I'll take it if nobody wants to take it.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Amino says we will get thrashed by City if we play like this, and I think some of us have that in the back of our minds. We're trying to be optimistic, but we probably have that in the back of our minds, especially that first half. And then Amino again says, "What's the point of Mount if he could not play yesterday?" And maybe we should get onto that actually, because So you could take over. You're in the lead here. What do you think? Are we going to get thrashed by City first and foremost? But where's Mount?
I don't think so.
What's going on? What's going on with Mount?
Well, first of all, I don't think we're going to get thrashed by City.
Really?
I'm a little bit optimistic about that. You know what? It's a weird one. Like you could play like poorly against these kind of lesser teams, and then you come up against someone like City and they just perform. You know what I mean? Because they come out a little bit more. They're on the front foot all the time. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll get thrashed. If we lose, I think it'll be like a 2-0 or something like that. But if we win, I think it'll be like a 1-0 or like we'll scrape it. You know what I mean? It'll be a battle.
And I guess we are at home. DJ, what do you think? We're gonna beat these guys?
Listen, I'm slapping 5 in midfield. Casemiro, Amrabat, McTominay. I am literally no. Listen. I'll be honest with you. If we try and play football against these men, it's going to get dark for us. And literally, we've had 3 performances now, which have been really lackluster, but we've managed to get 3 wins on the bounce. Right now, I think it's all about preservation. Yeah, forget football for now. We just need to get through that game, because what we don't want to do is get pumped 4-0, 5-0. City, man. You know what they're like, guys. Yeah. They'll get 3, hit 4 by half time, and it can drag us into a very, very dark place. We're already in a dark place, but we cannot afford to get absolutely smashed by these men. So I want to see Ten Hag pragmatic. We may have to make some sacrifices, guys. I want to see a 5-man in midfield. I do. I'm not.
So all the midfielders, just shut them all in.
Listen, chuck them all in. Button down the hatches, yeah? Do not let City through. Even if we do that for 60, 70 minutes, then try and go for the game. But the game will be out. I'm telling you now, the game will be out of sight if we try and play football against these men off the bat. The reason is because we haven't built up that form. We haven't had that run of games where we're playing well. We're a well-oiled machine. Listen, City, they've had issues, but they're a killing machine, bro. Like, I'm being real with you. They, against United, they'll turn up. Don't get it twisted.
No, I was going to say exactly the same thing. Because, when you look at people like Foden, people like, even Haaland, these guys, when it comes to United, they don't mess about. We saw how they punished us last time we faced them. And sometimes you do worry about them turning up in that game. But before we'll probably preview that later on. Let's not obviously Amino's jumping the gun there a little bit. But let's stay on yesterday's game just for a little bit more, because obviously we spoke about the first half now, and then the second half was much better. But partly, we're talking about 2 of the players that did really well in that game, or that changed the narrative for their story, right? Let's start with Andre Onana. Now, I think DJ, I'm gonna start with you, because I remember you saying he's not it. That's it. He's not it. Onana's not it. You're a flex, right? Obviously, we all have these things about our players, but will that penalty save be a turning point for him for his career as a United player? Can we rely on him going forward to have more confidence?
I think bad luck for him is that we got City next to him. Yeah, exactly. That's bad luck for him, because they'll pump goals against anybody. But what I will say is this: look, I personally don't believe he's it. I'm not. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah. Well, listen, bro. One save for me. Look, I'm gonna, because I don't want to take it away from him. What he did last night was phenomenal. Honestly, phenomenal. That's what Champions League nights are about. Do you know what I mean? And I want to give him his flowers. I just don't personally think that it's his mechanics as a goalkeeper that is a problem for me. And those type of things, you can tell that's just him. Do you know what I mean? But that's for another day. However, what I will say is that I do hope he kicks on from that. He's had a lot of scrutiny, and me included. I've been quite vocal about him, but it was really, really good to see him, save that last night, and you could see how much it meant to him. Legit, like, I can't lie, like I could have shed a tear last night when I was just seeing this. Not for real, because this player, like, we're not football players, but you can imagine the things they hear, the things they see, and they're probably doubting themselves. Honestly, like, what We here?
No, you're
We
back.
here?
You're back. You're
Yeah.
back. You're back.
Sorry, but honestly, big up to him for
Yeah.
keeping us in the Champions League, man. Because that was a thing of beauty, man. I have to give him his flowers for it.
That's right. No, he kept us in the Champions League. So what do you think? He literally kept us in the Champions League.
Yeah, 100%. And at the end of the day, when we needed him, he pulled it out of the bag.
Yeah.
I know he's had a bad, he's had bad form recently, but you have to give a goalkeeper time. Like imagine the amount of pressure that you got on your shoulders coming into like a team that's already expecting you to
do well, right?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I just think of like, remember when De Gea came in, and remember like he would make mistake after mistake after mistake. Like remember he was quite used to come out for like at corners, he was horrible. Like aspects of his game, but Alex Ferguson, he stuck it out, and in the end, he come good. You know what I mean? And there was a point in time where it he was being rated like one of the best keepers in the world. So I just think that he needs a bit of time. Plus, obviously, it's hard when you're like the line in front of you is constantly changing throughout the season. Like it's constant.
Exactly.
I know what you're gonna say, but it's still a factor. Like as a goalkeeper, your relationship with your defenders is huge, vital.
But it's about his shot stopping though. Shot stopping has nothing to do with your relationship with your back four. So when I say mechanically,
the mechanics. What you said is what I completely agree with. The mechanics of his shot stopping. We've got Raph back in the building. Welcome back, bro. He just doesn't look right. He just doesn't look right
sometimes.
So I fully get it. I fully agree with what you're saying. But actually, let's let Raph take the next one, right? So we're moving on, obviously, we're talking about the players, right? We spoke about Onana and if he's going to be a turning point. Maguire now, right? I saw on his Instagram that he posted his song, right? And I loved it. I thought it was great that he's changing his story. Like we could be backing this guy like seriously soon. But yeah, what are you saying, bro? Can Maguire now kick on?
Yeah, firstly, sorry about that, man. No worries, had some issues with my camera and my mic setup. But with Onana, as I said before, I'm gassed. I'm gassed for the team, but if there's one player I'm gassed about more than anyone else is Onana. For him to not just make good saves during the game, but then to go on and save a penalty in literally the dying seconds, that would mean we're going to pretty much be knocked out of the Champions League at the group stage. That's just amazing. It's so good. It's honestly, it's been a while since David De Gea put up a performance to that level. And he's done that
the whole game. You think Onana was good the whole game?
Obviously, I'm not saying he's better than De Gea. Please don't get on to me. But and obviously, the first few games shows that he has a lot of work to do. But I just mean that level of performance is such a high level that we don't see often from goalkeepers. So hopefully, it's only up from here. I hope so.
Yeah. Well, what about Maguire though? Maguire is he going to turn around? Is this a turnaround for him? Is it time for us to be like, you know what? Like let's give these guys flowers and let him run. Because now let's say Martinez is back, is he getting dropped immediately?
Nah,
that's the thing.
Nah. Listen, I get it. I get yesterday's game with Maguire, and he did. Obviously, he played well. Yeah, he's got to do that week in, week out, and like it's all good having like one or two good games, but it's this win ratio thing, this win ratio thing. Is like,
it's running please. Though. It's still running.
It's true. It's not.
No, I get it. But at the same time, he's got to do that week in, week out. And to be fair, in certain situations, he's the right man to be at centre back. And in most cases, for me, he's not. So I don't know. But for me, it's whoever's performing well in that position right now should play, and that's it for me. And if he's performing well, then like fair play, he needs, he takes the spot.
I think I was going to just quickly ask. Sorry, so I think I was just going to ask just on Maguire, like last show we spoke about, what's United's best 11, and I think with the way that our team is set up in terms of tactically and the personnel that we have, we can't actually establish a number 1 11 that we send out every other week. Obviously, most of it will be the same, i.e. your Brunos, I guess Rashford, Højlund, those are gonna probably stay the same. But in terms of a style of play and stuff, like when you're looking at other teams like City, for example, I hate to keep using them as an example, but it's true. Yeah. Like if you look at them, they can put out a consistent 11 every single week with the exact same personnel, and they're going to play it the exact same way with the exact same style of play and play to each of those players' attributes. Where our team's a little bit mismatched with like loads of different players who've got different weaknesses, like glaring weaknesses, we have to compensate a lot. So depending on the opponent, we have to change personnel. So that's what I just wanted to just add in there. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with that, to be honest. And part of the problem is, what we mentioned earlier about not seeming to see the style of play as much lately, and that's a big problem. And I think that's also causing, we can talk about them as well, actually, the front line. What's going on there? What is happening there? Because we've had this, last season, we were saying we're not scoring goals, right? We need a striker. And we're blaming it solely on the striker. We're not saying there's any other issues, we're just saying, look, we're creating the chances. We've got Weghorst up front. That's the problem. We've got Højlund in, and nobody here will disagree that Højlund is a good player. Like, he's a good striker. He's making good chances. He's getting about. But why are we not scoring goals? Rashford falling off a cliff almost.
Can't find him.
They
can't find him. They can't find him. And that just, you know what? I'll say this. Apart from obviously Cristiano Ronaldo, who came in, when was the last time United had an actual number 9 that was playing up front? Obviously, we can say Martial, but he was injury prone, yeah?
Yeah.
Before that, there was nobody, and it's been like that for years. So what I will say is that, this United team have gone a while without a striker. But I do believe, playing Bruno on the right ain't going to work. He needs to be number 10. If we're going to get anything out of Højlund, put Bruno at 10. He has to play. He has to play at 10.
But
right?
bro, don't you think that in the last few games we've seen them make a decent amount of chances? Like in the game against Sheffield, especially yesterday, we made quite a few chances.
Yeah.
To me, it was just more us not being clinical enough, bro.
But this is the thing. Go on. So
sorry, I just wanted to say it because that is what I was trying to get at the beginning. Is like we do things right, we make chances, but they don't finish it.
Yeah.
It's like we're struggling to put the ball in the back of the net. I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but it's like that every game. We get chances, like clear-cut chances, like that Garnacho chance. He should have buried that.
Yeah.
And then, to be fair, when you're talking about confidence, Garnacho is a player that does not lack confidence. Surely, if it's a confidence thing, I'll agree. When you're looking at maybe a Rashford, not even Højlund. Højlund just scored 2 goals in the last Champions League game before this game. So where's the issue confidence-wise? That there must be something that's going wrong here. That we're probably, I don't know if anybody in the chat has an idea. Who's got to answer?
It's Rashford for me. I'm not blaming Rashford, but I'm just saying in terms of that jigsaw, in terms of that jigsaw. Obviously, look on the right wing. There hasn't been a cemented right winger for a long time. Anthony's only just come back into the team, right? I'm not gonna lie, You see, when Rashford moved over to the right, Garnacho came to the left with Højlund down the middle. He looks way more threatening. Way more threatening. That's just my opinion.
Wait, Raph,
more
is this the gender watch?
Yeah, slightly, but maybe because, but I do get what he's saying though a little bit, because I said a couple of games ago that if Rashford plays on the right, he'll be able to open up his body. The cross will be more on. It will be more natural to him, because on the left we know he likes to cut in. But then at the same time, when he has actually played on the right, it's not worked, bro.
Well, that's why he needs to adapt. No, he needs to adapt. He needs to adapt. And this is the thing with Rashford, what I've noticed. He's become very predictable for defenders. Very, very predictable. However, what I will say is when he goes down the outside and he cuts in with his left and he tries to cut it in with his left, we've had some good chances with that. He just needs to identify what is working for him and what's best for him. I don't like when he gets the ball and he holds the ball for too long and he's wondering, what should I do with it? That shows me a player, one, that's lacking confidence, and 2, that don't know what he needs to be doing tactically. We know Højlund is a fast striker, but he's one that wants the ball in the box, right? And I've seen Dalot's done it a few times. So I think the team's working towards, trying to put the ball into the box way more. I think Reguilon even tried a couple times.
Yeah.
I just think with Rashford specifically, because he's one of our talismans, if you want to say that, he needs to figure out that connection with Højlund. It's coming slowly, but he needs to try to figure out how to get the best out of his
you're saying that we should play Garnacho on the left, but then he's also not scoring as well.
He's more of a sub though, isn't it? He's more of a sub though.
Yeah, but can I just add to that? Is that when Garnacho comes on, he's quite effective. Like it's almost like there's like a shift, like in a positive way. I don't know what it is. Even though he's not taking his chances, and I just kind of allow him when that happens because he's still a kid. So at the same time, he's still learning. But like I said, they do the right things. Like for me, Garnacho on the left, I'm not gonna lie, I prefer him on the left to Rashford.
I think he's more threatening. For
He
me, he's more of a threat. Like when he gets the ball, let's be real. Like, and you have to be honest with yourselves here. This ain't no agenda settings. When Rashford picks up the ball on the left wing, do you get that sense of danger? When Garnacho picks it up on the left wing and starts running at people, do you get that sense of, he's probably going to make something happen here? People might slaughter me, but I'm telling you what I see.
How long before we lose that from Garnacho as well, though? Because once upon a time, we did think that from Rashford. We did. Yeah. You know, let's be honest. Especially even last season, if you look at when he wasn't on form, you did think, okay, this guy can score from anything. I remember the Arsenal game, not this season, the one last season, where he scored similar goal, done a party, and then, you know, straight away you're thinking, this guy's electric. So I don't know what it is, obviously, in terms of his form right now. And it's not just Rashford. You know, let's be honest, it's not just Rashford. None of them are scoring, you know, between them in the Premier League, all three, if you're looking at Højlund, Martial, in fact, four, Højlund, Martial, Anthony, Rashford, only Rashford has scored one goal. And that was the one against Arsenal, I believe. So we are struggling in that front line. And, you know, there's people in the chat saying we don't create enough chances. You know, I think Fish C says here, we've had Ronaldo, Cavani, Martial in the last 4 or 5 years. No excuses. There's always a graveyard shift. So we do seem to have this problem when it comes to strikers, and I don't really know how you know, there it is. You know, we've had Ronaldo, these are top strikers. Obviously, Ronaldo managed to get some goals last, you know, in his first season he was there, or in the first season he came back rather. But we just seem to have this problem with our strikers, and now it's just the front line, full stop. So I don't really know where we're going to go with that. You know, especially like we're talking about City there. We need to be able to be clinical. We need to be clinical against City. Thing is though,
in terms of, because we were talking about like providing, you know, service for Højlund. If you look at kind of when the ball comes into the box, he's practically the only one in there. So it's kind of like, all right, then what is the phase of play when we get it out wide? So this is the thing. Tactically, if you know your style of play, you already know. Think of it like this. When Beckham used to play, as soon as the ball goes wide, what's everyone doing?
You get in the box.
They're getting in the box.
And actually, before you continue, DJ, there was a point yesterday when Louis was watching we were watching the game, and I think Garnacho had the ball on the left-hand side, and he was going to swing the ball in after he got off Højlund. Højlund's running into the middle, and he was shouting, screaming, Rashford, get on the far post. Get on the far post. Rashford didn't do that. So, you know, you've got a point if you want to continue.
Yeah. It's just if you know the players around you, you know where to be to receive the ball. I'm not gonna lie. When Rashford gets the ball, listen, not agenda settings. I'm telling you what I see. I swear to you, I've watched him. Yeah, right. When he specifically, because we're talking about service, right? When he specifically gets the ball, he doesn't know what he's going to do with it. He doesn't have a plan. He doesn't like. But it's not always been like that. If I'm completely honest, because when Shaw used to play, the minute Rashford would get it. Yeah, like if he had his back towards goal and he received it, he's looking to spin off and play Shaw in because he knows Shaw's running down the channels on the overlap. That's where you have relationships. So maybe it's a thing where he hasn't built up a relationship with Reguilon. However, as a player that's now a senior player, I want to see better decision making because his decision making is shocking. Like we can't dress it up. Like he has good attributes as a football player, but his decision making is really, really bad to the point where I see other wingers.
Why are you not giving Anthony as much stick as you're giving
because I'm gonna get onto that side. I honestly don't think Anthony's the answer to the right wing. I think he's okay. I think he's okay. But in terms of adding some variety to his game, he doesn't have any. Gone are the days where he could be like an Arjen Robben and cut in 100 times and whip the ball into the back of the net. Like that can only work so far in the Premier League. Maybe other leagues you can get away with that shit, but you can't do that week in, week out and expect not to get found out. There's enough, teams have enough data on you now. They've got enough data on to know where you are.
Do you know what makes that frustrating though? Is the fact that what you're saying is correct about Anthony, but at the same time, he's a workhorse on that right-hand side. He's up and down. Defensively, he's
solid. My winger. He's been paid to assist and put the ball in the box and chip in a couple
I get. That's why I'm agreeing. That's what makes it frustrating. That's what makes it a frustrating situation. Is that he does the other stuff really good, but when he gets up the wing, it's the same thing. It's the same trick. You know what I mean?
And this kind of goes back to. Go on, Raph, actually. Go on.
Yeah, I watched an interview between Eriksen and Schmeichel, and Eriksen was saying that, Højlund's in the team, But our style of play isn't necessarily all about crossing the ball in. It's more about keeping the ball and creating an overload before creating chances to score. So then, on that note, then don't you think that we're putting too much blame on Rashford and Anthony for not crossing the ball in enough, when maybe it's partly due to the style of play? We know that the manager likes possession-style football, work your way gradually towards the goal.
I'll let someone answer. I've got an answer, but I'll let someone else answer.
No, I think I'd agree that, of course, that makes sense. And I think what you're going to say is pretty similar to what I'm going to say, right? Our players just ain't up to that. So what do we have? We've got counter-attacking players. We've got it seems, in terms of Rashford, and then even Anthony. I don't think Anthony has the pace anyway to be a counter-attacking player. But that's almost where we're geared towards. And Ten Hag's trying to change that. He is trying to make us more possession play based, more control, but we're not doing that right now. We really
hasn't got the players to do it. Hasn't got the players.
He doesn't have the players. So and then when you're trying to do that, it's just not working. And if we want to move it into the midfield a little bit, right? And you're talking about Eriksen there. Eriksen is, and this is what I was going to mention earlier. When we were mentioning earlier about how we have players that have certain attributes, but not all the attributes we need. So Eriksen is an example, right? He can play technical passes. So when Ten Hag brought him on in the second half, we needed that, and it worked because we were lacking it in the first half. But really and truly, we should have a player that can do both, or that can do the complete player, if you like, a complete midfielder in that sense. McTominay wasn't doing that, so we had to move him out of the way. What are your thoughts, DJ, on that?
I've said this on a couple of shows, and I think I said it to Owen. I said United's midfield, for me personally, and this is my personal opinion, this is not a reflection of United view, it's just DJ. My personal, I've got to make sure I put it out there. My personal opinion is that Manchester United's midfield died the day that Herrera, Pogba, and Matic were no longer starting alongside each other. Because with those three, that was the most balanced our midfield had looked in years. Because they all complemented each other. They could all carry the ball if they needed to. There was passing range in there. There was good defensive work in there. There was box to box in there also. That could assist with goals. So it was quite balanced. And I think with United, even though we've got the great Casemiro come in, who's sort of like on the other end of his career now, we're still trying to find that midfield balance. That includes Bruno Fernandes. So I think is
Bruno a problem?
No, he's not the problem.
Okay.
The problem was Casemiro, I think he was a big problem. And I didn't really think it before, but now that I've seen, because before I didn't ever want us to drop him. But I feel like this injury is actually a blessing in disguise. And we don't really, before, like last season, I used to think we have to play Casemiro every game. If he's not playing, we don't have any defensive stability. Now, he actually causes us a lot of problems. And when he wasn't playing yesterday, I actually preferred the way, especially in the second half, shall I say, I preferred the way we play. I didn't feel as though we needed someone like Casemiro for every game. I feel like going into a game like City on Sunday, you might want.
I was going to ask, are you going to bring him back in for City then?
Yeah, just for
if he's fit.
Just quick in and out.
But then on that point, Ten Hag on Eriksen at halftime. So are you giving Ten Hag credit, Raph, for him bringing on Eriksen? Or are you criticizing him for the fact that he didn't start Eriksen in the first place?
It's a bit of both because, then again, I don't know, because I feel like I'm being a bit biased to give him credit for doing that at halftime, because anyone would have done that. That was obvious that we needed either Eriksen or Mount on, and it doesn't take a world class manager to make that decision. But then at the same time, and I think he should have started with either Eriksen or Mount next to Amrabat, but then I can understand his reasoning of trying to get McTominay game time because he deserves it, as some of you lot will say. So it's a tough one, but I think I'm blaming him more for not starting Eriksen or Mount.
No. So what do you think? Would you have started Eriksen in that game? Well, I mean, hindsight is a beautiful thing, right? We're all going to say yes, right? But and maybe bring Mount into this question, because we had the super chat earlier that talked about where's Mount, like what's going on with Mount, and I don't think anybody, unless you guys have heard something. I haven't heard anything in terms of injuries in relation to Mount. Nobody really asked any questions about him last game. So we're moving slowly into the City preview here. But are we starting Eriksen now in this game? Are we having a midfield of Eriksen, McTominay, and Bruno, or are we bringing Mount back in when he has no minutes in his legs? So
not for me.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Like Eriksen's like, he doesn't have. You could see that he's like coming towards the end of his career, if you know what I mean. Like when he plays, and don't get me wrong, like he's, technically a great footballer, and like the other day he influenced the game positively and stuff like that. But I just don't think that he can do that an entire game. And in my personal opinion, I'd rather, you know, Casemiro be on the pitch, or McTominay or Amrabat, someone like that. And then if he's coming off the bench and he's affecting the game in a positive way off the bench, it's a bit like Garnacho. It's like we're talking about the Garnacho situation. You know, you say it to counter my own argument. He's almost better when he comes off the bench.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just wouldn't. Me personally, I wouldn't
start. Yeah. So what are you saying, DJ? Do you think that game? We'll go into our, like, you know, start predicted 11 maybe, you know, later on properly. But what do we do with that midfield is the question, because right now we don't have any. The defense is the defense, right? We don't have anyone to bring into that defense. The attack, it looks like it's going to probably still be Anthony Hoyland and Rashford. That is the midfield where the problem lies. Yeah.
So what I will say is that you have to manage games, right? So Eriksen is a fantastic technical footballer, great passer of the ball and that stuff, but he just doesn't have the legs. So logically, you would introduce him into a game when you've played maybe 60 minutes, the opposition is a bit tired, then you can, and then maybe not as running as hard as they were from the first half, then you'd bring Eriksen in to maybe have some influence and control over the game, which Ten Hag did. Going against City, there's two things you can do. You can either say, right, we're actually going to play football with these guys. We're going to actually have Amrabat, Eriksen, Bruno in a midfield because we want to be able to play ball and have passing and all of that stuff. However, I still think even if we put our so-called best ballers in the midfield, I don't think it's going to be good enough. Yeah, I don't think it'll still be good enough. So what you should do then is, right, in the midfield, we're going to need energy, power, and legs. Yeah, so McTominay will come in, maybe Amrabat and Casemiro. You could flood the midfield with loads of runners. Maybe you can put, it's going to look horrible. Listen, it's not going to be pretty to beat City. We're not there yet. Let's just be real. We're not there yet. So for me, you put your more robust players that can get about the pitch, can win tackles, and try and get the ball forward. Yeah, that's what I would do. If, say, we've done that and we're doing like 10 men behind the ball, all that stuff, and it gets to 60, 70 minutes, cool. Then I'll go, cool, right, Eriksen, you're on, Mount, you're on. Okay. Get all your footballers on then, because City will be slower, they'll be tired. Then you can play football with them. But playing football with them while they're fresh, it's a wrap. Don't do it. I'm saying, Man United, don't do it. Don't do it.
Is that what you're saying as well, Raph? Is that what you believe? Like,
I pretty much agree with that. I think in the past, we have beaten City sometimes. I was laughing at my boy because he was celebrating, as an Arsenal fan, beating City for the first time in 6 years. And I was like, this is...
We do that.
Like, we've done that. Ole's done that. Mourinho's done that. Like, we've all done that. But then when you look at the way we've always done it, it's always been scrappy, always been like long ball football. It's never actually been about us playing like really nice, intricate attacking football. So we can't expect to go there on Sunday, especially when we're not playing great football, and suddenly expect us to impose our style of play on City. As DJ said, it's not going to work. So yeah, we need to see a strong midfield.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think if we can somehow, you know, something we haven't mentioned is that we're at home in this game, right? And once upon a time, especially last season, we would have thought, you know what, we're at home, we've got a chance. And it almost feels like none of us really believe we have a chance. Like, we believe it's going to be a bit of...
They're the exception, bro. Rich, they're the exception. Like, City, they don't care where they are. They're banging in goals, bro. They don't care.
But then like, what happened to Derby Day is the great leveler, you know? Derby is a great leveler, you know? But I mean, I think that went out the window when we lost 7-0 to Liverpool, because people were saying that back then.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Not when you're this bad, innit? Not when you're this bad, man. Like, to me, it's not a thing where suddenly, because it's the derby, we're on the same terms. Nah, it's a very dangerous game for us.
The thing is, City are good enough to expose the frailties we already have there, and they're even that good to punish us for it. Do you know what I mean? Let's not act like Copenhagen couldn't have scored more goals against us. Like, they could have, bro. They had decent chances. Yeah, a better team scores those goals. We get put to the sword. So I just want Ten Hag to... I don't want him to try and think, it's me versus Pep. Let me just try and get my ball. Nah, not yet. Like, we have to manage the game very differently from how they are. Yeah. It's like, let's look at, for example, boxing. You get some boxers that are slow starters. They'll try and go the whole 12 rounds. You get guys that are knockout artists. So it's how you stylistically how we're going to match up with them. And for me personally, I would pack the midfield out as best as possible with your defensive-minded players. Obviously, you've got Højlund. You would have Rashford. Maybe you play the two up top just for on the break. But just pack the midfield out for now, man, and see how that goes for first half. See how, because we don't want to concede, right? Let's not concede.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We don't want to concede because I think once City get 1, they'll get 2, they'll probably get a 3, and then it's downhill, and we capitulate and stuff like that happens. So, as I said before,
No, go on. Finish. Go
on. And I was just saying, it's just about preservation, boys. I'd rather preserve the confidence that we have in this team right now because we're that frail. Let's preserve what we have. We've had 3 games on the bounce. Great. If we can get a point or somehow miraculously win it, great. But let's preserve what we have. Because if we get slapped 5-0, 6-0, if we get slapped 5-6-0, all of that hard work for those 3 games goes down the drain. It does. We'll be right back down to square one. So it's about preservation for me.
Yeah, no, big up Minna in the chat. And somebody just echoed what you're saying here, actually. John James, he says, everyone wants vanity football and we don't have the players or cohesion for that quite yet. You know, you're saying just now, we want to play like City. We want to be City. We want to be able to do what they're doing. But right now, we ain't got the capacity for that. So we can't be doing that. But
we're in the Nissan Micro, bro. We're in the Nissan Micro, man.
Exactly.
We want the range, but we just got to do what we got to do with right
now. And something that you mentioned I kind of want to touch on, right? So maybe you can start with this year. You know, you said that we've done all this hard work in the last 3 games. Really and truly, when you've deep those last 3 games, it's late drama, late luck. You know, Onana saving us, McTominay coming us last 10 minutes to save us, McTominay again and Dallo saving us in the game. You know, the game before that. What can we keep doing this? Can we do this against City? Because City probably punish us.
No. You know, you see, this is the reason why I said what I said. At the end of the day, like, we can't be scraping games. Like, do you know what it is? I think it's because, you know, like, when we look at the era before, you know what I mean, like the Ferguson era. Yeah. You know what I mean? We'll go into a game and we'll think the best era. You know what I mean? But we'll go into the games and be thinking like, what? These lot can't move to us. You know what I mean? But now it's like we're just happy that we're winning 3 games on the trot. So I find it hard
and scraping those games as well.
Scraping those games. Look, I think was it Tottenham that did it last season at the big, or was it last season or the season before, where they started well and it was scraping the games. It was scraping like 1-0 or 2-1s or whatever, and then eventually you just end up falling off. Like in my opinion, you can't win a league title like that. I know we're not expecting to do that, but to even make top 4. Like, that's what I was expecting. And at the same time, now, looking at the way we're playing, like, the last-minute goals, the kind of, like, some of them are a little bit fluky or whatever. You know, you just like, this is not the way. Like, eventually, we're not going to have luck on our side. You know what I mean?
And it all comes down, you know, Raph, you can jump in here, but it all comes down to implementing our style of play, right? And implementing a way that we can play that is going to guarantee results almost, you know, that kind of system that, yes, you know, no matter like Sol was just saying, no matter what happens, we will get results here. Like, you know, we'll churn out a machine of results like we used to under Ferguson. We'll go to a game and say, we're going to win regardless of what's going on. Second half, I remember back in the day, I used to be like, second half, I don't care what happened in the first half, we're winning this game second half. We don't have that kind of confidence now. What are you saying,
no, you're right. We don't, unfortunately. But I think it's a process, though. It is a process. And, you know, Ten Hag has been here just over a year now. We need to give him a bit more time. If we need to get to a period in which we can say, all right, cool, this is fair now. You've got the players that you want to play. You know, you've had such amount of time. Right now, we should be seeing results. But until that happens, I can't completely fault the manager for not implementing his style of play yet. Because you can't do it if you don't have the players that can't play your style of play, if that makes sense. If he's making do with players from counter-attacking football, or he's making do with players that just don't suit his style of play, then there's only so much you can do.
No, 100%. And I think we would all agree then, really, from what everybody's saying. These victories for us anyway, maybe others, like DJ did say, cool, I'll take any type of win, and we all agree. Bro, I'll take tomorrow or Sunday against City. I'll take any type of win.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm here to tell you right now, bro. I don't care how we win that game. But I think we can agree that it's not papering over the cracks. There are cracks in this team that need to be covered essentially. But
Big
on
cracks.
that note, right?
Big cracks.
On that note, can we? No, we've kind of talked about this already, yeah. But can we actually win this game? And the reason I ask again is because if we win this game, guys, yeah, we're gonna be 3 points behind City after the way we've started the season. We're talking about cracks and everything. We've had we're scraping wins. 3 points behind City.
No, don't go there. 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 Because we're not finishing above City or anything like that, bro. So let's not get too excited. I do agree with you in a way of that. Like, I think it's always better than it looks. And when you actually, if you go to the league table and you look at the points, we're not.
Don't look at the goal difference. Don't look at the goal difference.
Don't look at the goal difference. Hey, the goal difference. Put that one to the side. But the points, which is what matters the most at the end of the day, actually isn't too bad in comparison to some other teams. The situation could be worse. We could be Chelsea or some other clubs. So yeah, I think we could win. We could win. As you said earlier, we are at Old Trafford. I think we could win. As someone just said in the chat, we take it one game at a time. And who knows, maybe we'll get close to City or closer, but yeah, definitely not catching up to them completely.
What are you saying, DJ? What are you saying? Are you more confident?
What, against City?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not confident, man. No. And I'll tell you why. Look, I'll tell you why, right? Because if you look at the last 3 games, has the last 3 games given us any indication that we can go up against the best team in the league and do anything to them? We can barely score goals against Copenhagen, bro. We can barely score goals against Sheffield. So what makes you, man, think, if you do think, or anybody at home, and listen to the community, what makes you think that we can score goals against these, man? The creme de la creme in the Premier League.
Because
go on,
the best sometimes gets the best out of you. You know what I mean? When you play the best, sometimes that draws the best out of you. Like for me, people sometimes in a player's brain, they just think, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna get moved to by City. You know what I mean? And then they might come out and play the best football we've ever seen.
Do you know what's gonna happen? Can I tell you what's gonna happen? Can I just tell you what's gonna happen?
Go on.
Right. You know what? For like 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, we're gonna come flying at them, yeah? Passion, the crowd's gonna be behind, and all they're gonna do, have you watch the matadors and that? Where they in the bull ring and that? That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna wait. They're like, yeah, come. 2 passes around us. Yeah, where's the midfield? They're running at Maguire. It's peak, bro. Yeah, I'm just saying it's peak. These men are a killing machine. We're not there yet. So I say pack the midfield, energy. Yeah, just energy, pack the midfield, just literally just everyone behind the ball. Obviously, you have Rashford, you have Højlund to give them something to think about in behind them, but let's just preserve things. See how the first half goes, innit? If it's goalless first half, see how it goes. Minute by minute, manage the game.
Let me give you some positive spin. Yeah, positive spin. City. no, let's not talk about City. Let's talk about the team we're facing on Sunday. They've lost 2 of their last 3 Premier League games, whereas the team that is at home on Sunday have won 2 of them. They've lost. I was gonna say we won the last 3, but we haven't actually, have we? I think we lost the 3rd one previously, isn't it? So we've won. Okay, we've won the last 2. They've lost 2 of the last 3. So anything can happen. And also one of those games, you talking about Arsenal. One of those games was against Wolves. On the flip side, to kind of counteract myself, Rodri wasn't available for those games. Okay, so and he's back, and you're talking there about putting bodies in the midfield. We're gonna need that, especially against Rodri and them man there. Let's get some predictions in. See what the chat's saying as well. The chat, chuck your predictions in for this game. Be a bit confident. Come on, believe, as we always say, believe. All right. I'm not gonna go first because I don't even know what I'm predicting in this game. I ain't gonna lie. So, do you wanna go first? What are you thinking? Predictions for the City game. Remember, we're at home.
I'm gonna go with 2-1.
Okay.
To United.
Yeah. Oh, you have to clarify because boy, and I think that's the prediction you make when you're not confident. You know them ones where you say, 2-1, yeah, we're not confident. Raph, what you saying?
I say that because I think we could draw it. We could draw it out. If we were gonna do it, it would be like we'll scrape it.
No, for real. Raph, what you saying?
I think 1-0. I think 1-0. Højlund to score.
Clean sheet.
The 9th minute.
Clean sheet against City.
Yeah, clean sheet. 1-0.
Wow.
Dirty one.
Wow, okay. All right, DJ, what are you saying?
I think it'll be
What's your
2-2. 2-2.
Okay. Yeah. And I was gonna go down that path as well of a draw. And let's talk about it. Like, if we get a draw against City, are we happy with that?
I'm happy.
With that?
Yeah.
I am ecstatic. I'll move like
Hell
one again.
no.
Yeah.
Hell no,
I'll like we
bro.
won the game.
Of course,
I'll
I wouldn't
come
be
in
happy with that.
smiling.
No,
Why are you not
hold
happy
on,
with
hold
it?
on.
bro, it's City.
A
I want
draw
to
with
win.
arguably the best team in the world. I'll take it.
No, man, we're at home.
Especially where
Man
we're at right
United,
now.
bro.
Well, Man United, we was Man United. I don't know who these lot are. Man. Yeah,
No,
but,
2-2. You
yeah.
know, 2-2.
I'll take 2-2.
I'll take a.
They're gonna
bro.
score.
I'll take a.
They're
Yeah.
gonna score. They're gonna score.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean, like I said
yeah.
earlier, right? These man, they turn up when it comes to facing United. So I don't see us keeping a clean sheet against them, right? Obviously, Onana's, we can say he's banging form now, but I'll be surprised if we kept a clean sheet against them. A draw though. So you said you don't take it. So tell us why. No, you said no way.
No way, bro. Because I'm like, as a supporter, like we're at home. Like we should, if anything, like I want us to win. If it's not a win, don't get me wrong. Like a draw is not a bad result, but come on, man. Like we're still Man United at the end of the day. Like you know what I mean. We got to go in that game thinking, no, we can't let these lot move to us at our home ground. It just can't be like that. Right now, we need a win. Now.
And to be fair, on that note, I'm gonna chuck my prediction in. I'm just gonna go for 2-1 as well. Like 2-1, because I want to win. I can't. It's hard to predict against our team, And I love the chat. Some guys saying with their chest 4-2 with your chest. Nah, bro. Like, I mean, I'll take a 4-2, but when was the last time Memphis? When was the last time we scored 4 goals? Like, come on. But I'll take it. Anyway, big up everyone in the chat. Big up everyone for sticking with us today. Obviously, we had a few technical issues, but always we will bring you the content as much as we can. Thanks for sticking to the news show, Trafford Talk. And obviously, we're going to be back again in the morning with Owen, with the morning view. Thanks for watching. Big up DJ, big up Raph, big up Soul. And catch us on the next one. Peace.